Welcome back. Welcome back. It is me, BrittReacts, and today we are reacting to Shane Gillis on getting canceled and fired from SNL. And this conversation is with none other than the Theo Von. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, man, that story was fascinating, the SNL story. I was, and then last night you said that you and Lauren still keep in touch a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah, I'll text with it sometime. Yeah, we chat a little.
Did he feel bad, do you feel like?
I believe he did, but you never know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. He could have been the one that was like, get rid of him, you know? But from what I've heard is no.
Did you feel like whenever that you were going through that, there was nobody standing up for you? Or did you feel like, did you have any thoughts like?
I'm assuming Lauren is someone in some type of authoritative position over at SNL. Y'all, hold on. I am just literally having the most serious craving. The best. And guess what? It's white chocolate, not brown. My favorite. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's saying like he's not the one who wanted to make the decision to fire him. I feel like I honestly remember hearing, reading, or seeing the story about why he got fired. Like maybe y'all put it in the comments of one of his videos, but I can't remember what the story was. So I'm kind of like super interested, and especially to hear it come from the horse's mouth. So let's see. Like, why did he get fired? I hope they touch base on this and they don't like talk around it.
Like that?
Sometimes you feel like
that was silly. This is Theo Von. He's not talking around anything.
Standing up for you, or did you feel like? Did you have any thoughts like that?
Sometimes you feel like that. Yeah.
Well, I feel like that most of my life. This is what most of the show is about that. So But did you feel like? I mean, like I just wonder what some of that was like. Like, was there?
There's one thing that's very surreal. It's very surreal.
Yeah, even your story. Listening to your story about going in there.
Yeah.
Sitting in there. I'm like in the story. I'm
Dude,
like, oh my God.
When you're in the waiting room, like, because when you go audition, you're like, I also never thought I'd get it. I was going in there like, probably not going to get this.
Yeah.
I knew what I had done in the past.
Right.
You know, I knew my crimes. I couldn't believe I was in this fucking building.
What are the crimes?
Yeah, you walk in, you see that stage, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. Because I wasn't.
What are the crimes? Okay, so it looks like he got canceled. Like he got this job and someone came out with something that he did. I really, it's crazy because like vaguely I remember this story, but very vague, very vague.
I wasn't nervous until I saw that.
Oh, because it's the real stage from TV?
Yeah, you do it you audition on the main stage.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. But,
dang.
yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was really cool. Dang. But then when you get canceled nationally, it's
He got
also,
canceled.
it's a lot smaller than you'd think.
It is?
It's very small. That stage. Wow. I always thought it was huge.
You can actually tell the SNL stage is small when musical artists that have dancers perform on it, because their choreography is literally shrunken. Like that's, for me, I don't know if that's just something I can tell because I've danced, I've choreographed, I've performed on stages, but like they dance really small. Like you can see it. So it's not that surprising to me. It's a new day and I'm still pressing the wrong buttons.
Yeah.
Murphy had been on there.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring that up, but yeah, but he was on there. But so were you.
I was also on there.
You were on there. Did you ever feel like you were a patsy, like it was a setup? Did you ever think about that?
No, I don't think so. Unless it had something to do with Epstein. Epstein was like that week. My story overshadowed Epstein.
Ah.
You never know.
Bro, there's
no way a Shane Gillis story overshadowed a Jeffrey Epstein story. How is that possible? What did he do? Also, did he actually make it onto the show? Like, did he have a few episodes on the show, or did he get kicked off before he even get started? I feel like they're not going to really talk about what happened, and it's already pissing me off. Guys, come on. I need to know. I need to know. What's the tea?
So much power out there. I mean, they could easily say, hey, let's bring in a gentleman, a good gentleman.
And smear him.
But
Maybe.
did that ever cross your mind or no?
No. Just from the way everybody talked leading up to it. Before the cancel, like they knew I wasn't like a conservative guy.
Right.
By their standards, yes, I am.
Of course,
but they weren't like, oh, let's get this guy because he likes Trump.
By their standards,
like, no, I literally auditioned with a joke about Trump dying,
right,
being funny,
right.
So,
Looking back, do you feel like there was anything you could have done different, or was this was the way that this was going to work out no matter what?
No, I mean, I definitely wouldn't have changed what we did, our podcast, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I got to New York.
Right.
So he said something on a podcast. I feel like I'm going to have to piece this together. Am I going to have to piecemeal this together, y'all? Am I going to have to put the pieces to the puzzle together instead of them flat out telling me? And yes, I'm aware I could Google it, but I want to watch. I want to watch it unfold and hope that the story is told. Ooh, Barr. Ow, bring up bars.
So...
What about the articles and then suddenly your name is out there in
that was crazy.
That's
because I was never anything.
Right.
And I did like New Faces that year.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden it was like that was what fucked me up, was like,
that is the crazy thing about cancel culture, is it actually often backfires on the people who are trying to cancel them, because what you do when you push cancel culture is that you're putting this person out in the world for everyone to see what they did, and then everyone can form their opinion, and not everyone's going to agree with the cancellation of this person. So you've really done the whole bad press, good press thing, and it's like, either way, he may be losing right now, but like, had I been able to find out who Shane Gillis was, if that didn't happen, I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't have been as viral on the internet, and I would have never found his videos. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, in the moment, I'm sure it sucked, but I'm sure he also saw a lot of doors open, or at least access to things that he didn't have before when he just said he was a quote unquote nobody, you know? So that's my take on cancel culture. It's like, you try to cancel somebody, but really what y'all are doing is giving them a platform to stand on and be canceled. So you do the math, folks.
The comments. Now I read comments. I always read comments. I've been stuck reading comments. I can't stop reading comments. And it doesn't like destroy me anymore. I'm starting to but it comes and goes. Like, I'll be like, all right, it doesn't bother me at all. And then every once in a while, somebody will get a fucking dagger on me. And I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I would read like...
I can relate to this on so many levels, y'all. Like, and I want to, like, first of all, am I on Shane Gillis's level? No. Am I trying to act like it? No. But I do have a platform, and I have more people on this platform than I have ever had access to, reach to in my life. And in the beginning, comments were really hard for me. Like, my mental health was struggling, and 97% of the comments were always positive, overwhelmingly positive. But it's that 3%. If you're not prepared, trained, expecting like someone to throw a dagger at you, it can derail you for days. Like, there was a couple of times where I had to ask my husband to go in and just like filter through the comments, because I like couldn't, like, I literally couldn't open the YouTube Studio app. People are just ugly, and it's, whether it's warranted or not, right? Like, if someone did something, like, it's just like, you went out of your way to type this really mean thing to someone you don't know, that if you saw them in person, you wouldn't have the mitigated gall to say to their face. And that is really where it's just like, you then have to learn to let it roll off, because they never say it to me. They never say it to Shane. You know, it's like, get a life.
Articles and stuff. And I would have like dreams. I was having like nightmares about like articles and comments and all that shit.
That's awful.
It was crazy.
What did he do?
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to see.
I'm gonna have to Google this.
It's like, it's so much bigger. It feels so much bigger than you. You're like, I'm just one person with, and
yeah, and it was funny sometimes. Like, it was very funny sometimes. Like, because it was with my friend Matt. So like, I'd be like, oh shit, you remember we said that? Like, I totally forgot about that. And then there'd be an article that's like, Judd Apatow's gayer than ISIS. And we're like, oh shit, that's pretty funny. But
okay, so he said something in reference to the gay community. I can't imagine, like, Shane Gillis strikes me as a type who can take a good joke. So for him to be affected poorly by people making jokes, they had to be really like heinous jokes, like heinous. Is heinous a word? What did I just say? A really heinous joke, like hurtful, you know? All right, again, I feel like I'm really gonna have to pick up little tiny pieces of this puzzle until I figure out what was said. What was said?
You know, I feel bad that shouldn't have, you know, sucks that he's got to see that.
yeah, who, Judd Apatow?
Yeah. True. Yeah, I don't think he didn't care, obviously.
Right.
I gotta Google. Now I gotta Google. Who is Judd Apatow? Judd Apatow? Apatow? Judd Apatow is an American director, producer, and screenwriter. Best for his work in comedy fields. He's the founder of Apatow Productions. He directed 40-year-old version, Knocked Up Funny People, This Is 40. Oh, he's great. I love his movies. All right, so I don't want to ruin this interview by trying to figure out what Shane did. Let me Google Shane Gillis, Judd Apatow. So he called him gayer than I don't even know if I can say that word or spell it out. Okay, so that's what got him. Okay. All right. And Judd's response is pretty funny. I don't mind, but I think blank probably feels bad about this. And I think it wasn't so much the comedy. I think it was like the verbiage around it. It's pretty curt language, if you will. Yeah. Okay. All right. I am in understanding now of what happened.
Which is nice of him.
Which is nice of him.
Because I was down. He could have been like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Easily.
He'd have chimed in also.
You ever get canceled? You going to get canceled, do you think?
We'll see how this episode
Theo Von. Theo Von. I don't know. I think it is a really thin line. I think people really accept him for who he is. And so he has said some pretty outlandish stuff. But I don't know. Could he ever get canceled? He said some things that I think are cancelable as far as what I know the world to get all revved up about. But I don't know. I think there's something about him that has kind of put him in a bubble. I don't know what makes him different than other people, but to me, I feel like he might have like a immunity that others don't have, maybe. I don't know. What do y'all think?
You going to get canceled, do you think?
We'll see how this episode does. And I feel bad saying this in front of Riley over there.
I know.
Just a lot. But anyway, man, what were we talking about?
I got hired and fired by Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a traumatic experience.
But I feel like, do you feel like there is any positives from it over time?
For sure.
Have you started to notice any positives?
I noticed positives immediately.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Like you go on stage and people are like, "Oh shit, this is,
This is who this is.
this is the guy."
See?
Oh, wow. So you went.
I had zero, and then to like, "Oh, this guy's good,"
Yeah, it's like zero of nothing or all of a bad thing. It's kind of like, are either of them good? You know what I mean? How do you handle the bad then? What do you do with the bad? How do you cultivate the bad and like weed out and rise from it versus being at rock bottom? I think that's a great point. It's like, what would you rather? Would you rather be at rock bottom and have absolutely nothing? Or would you rather have some elevation, but it just not be like the greatest soil to start with, That's a really good point. And that's what I was saying. It's like you canceled him, but you really gave this man a name. So you canceled out your cancellation. It's a double negative.
You went.
I had zero, and then to like, "Oh, this guy's good," or like not good, but this is a fucking freak.
This is who he is.
This is the thing.
Yeah. This is
we
Lobster
get to see
Boy.
this freak. Yeah. But then it's in your head when it's happening. Because like you see people, like at any show, people talk to each other, like whisper at the table, and then like, "Are you fucking talking about me, motherfucker?" And they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, you know what I did, you motherfucker. Yeah, so you'd be up there, you're in your head constantly.
Oh,
and then saying like you meet people that are all, comedians in New York, and I'm like, "Oh, this fucker hates me probably, or they probably talked shit or whatever."
This
So
is
it's just
so
constant,
interesting.
and nobody cares. No one else cares.
This feels like a case study.
Just you.
Right. I wonder what most people feel or think. I guess you never know. It's weird how it's like, do people even really care? It's almost like
No,
a
no one
lot of the
cares.
cancel
No one
stuff.
cares.
It's not even a real thing. It's no one.
I agree with that. The people who are like behind canceling somebody, it's like, I don't even think they really care. I think they want to see the demise of someone more than they really care about the issue. It's just like they want to see that person suffer. And it's just like, what is one person's maybe negative speech or negative actions really doing in a way that like versus you. Okay, let me I'm trying to find my words. Like one person's negative voice versus all of these people who want to cancel them putting their energy into the actual problem that they feel they are championing for, right? It's like one person's bad choice or all of y'all as a group just going and helping this cause that you feel like has been offended by this one person. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I get it. If someone does something bad, like we can talk about it. You know, they should be held accountable. Maybe even, you know, they should say something and put out a statement, you know, apologizing if that's what they feel like they want to do. But this whole like ruining people's lives for mistakes that they made or for their opinion, it's evil doing evil. You know what I mean? You're fighting bad with bad. It's like teaching someone a lesson and then ruining them their lives is two different things. And it's like, you know, if a kid, I don't know, throws his toy down, do you take all of his toys for the rest of his childhood? Or do you have a conversation with him and try to affect change in that behavior? Adults are not children, but adults are human and adults make mistakes. And so I'm very confused with the cancel culture of when it's like, nope, you're done. You'll never work again because you said this in 1997. And it's like, wait, what? I'm not even the same person I was in 1997. God forbid someone held me to something I did at 18, 19, like in college. If y'all knew who I was a horrible human being back then. And I can say that now, having done a lot of work to be the good person that I know I am now. If I was held to that every day of my life, who I was at 18, just dig my grave now. Just my family ain't gonna eat. Like, just forget about it. I don't understand.
Cares. No one really cared.
Exactly.
No one.
Yeah. No one did.
Right.
I never once was confronted by one person that cared.
Really?
It was always just like, well, you should.
The powers that be, right.
Whatever.
It's kind of weird. It's
no
like
one
this,
came up to
like
him
this
and said anything.
invisible rule book.
It is. And we're trying, like right now, like with me trying to.
I feel like comedians probably have it the worst because so many comedians joke about inappropriate things and communities and stereotypes. And it's like they are probably the most susceptible to offending a big group of people who are going to want to see their demise. I think I can say that confidently. Like comedians are probably some of the worst, for sure.
And we're trying, like right now, like with me trying to sell anything or like work on anything, like a show or anything, people are very like, well, we like you, but, you know, we can't get in trouble.
Right.
It's like no one cares about, nobody's like, the reason we're not picking you up is because what you did was wrong. They're just like, well, we don't want to get in trouble.
It's so weird.
You know, it's like a weird pussy.
There's this invisible principle.
Time, yeah, someone's like, ooh.
Yeah.
The whole world's like, ooh. While it happened, I was like, oh, I'm fired for sure. And then it just got drawn out. Like I knew I was fucked.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if they were mad about that, there's
other
right.
a lot.
Do you know what else he said?
This is, you know.
Do you think that you would have fired you?
No. But under the rules, today's rules,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
you have to.
Right.
Right.
Those are the rules. But if you want to, you know what I mean? That's what I've always tried to say. Like I don't argue me getting fired.
Right.
Those are today's rules. If you want to talk about like, I would have to argue like we need to change the rules.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever.
Like the rules are what's. This might not be what's wrong. The rules, there should be adjustment in the rules.
Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting when you.
The rules from this invisible rule book that we're talking about. It's like, how do you even know what the rules are to adjust them? It feels like it's just like as soon as someone feels like a new rule should be, you know, instated, it's like, that was a rule. Can y'all tell how I feel about cancel culture? I'm not on board. I'm not on board with it. I'm not on board. I feel like people ask for grace often, but are very, very easy not to give grace. And I'm guilty of that in my own personal life for sure. But I think it rears its ugly face in this cancel culture epidemic.
Take a stand up from what's okay to be on stage and then try to put it, because you weren't a sketch guy really, or you were?
No, not really.
So you're in that space suddenly, and do you feel like you were a good fit for the show?
Yeah, I think I could have been.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I could have done well.
Yes.
I mean, we made sketches, and I did okay in those.
Yeah.
So I think I could have. And I think Lauren saw that, and he was like, I think he could be good, you know?
Yeah.
Or I could have been decent at Weekend Update, something like that.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. That would have been fun.
Was there anybody that reached out to you kind of that you were surprised by that was like trying to be supportive?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
There's a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
Norm Macdonald.
I wonder if these people were, well, I guess Theo's question kind of answers my question. Is like, did they quietly behind the scenes come out, or did they advocate for Shane loudly? Like, did they post Twitters in support of him? Twitters? Can y'all tell I do not use X, formerly known as Twitter, tweets? Did they like tweet in support of him, or was it just like private phone calls of like, hey bud, like, I'm not trying to get canceled, but you shouldn't have been canceled. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was a cool one.
Really?
Yeah, that was a cool one. I talked to him for like an hour.
No.
On the phone, yeah.
Who was
Wow.
it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
Norm Macdonald was a cool one.
Really?
I don't know who
Yeah,
that is.
that was a cool one. I talked to
Should
him
I
for
know
like
who
an
that
hour.
is?
No.
On the phone, yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah,
What
he's
did he
the best.
say?
He's another guy that's exactly who you think he is, you know?
Yeah.
He was just like, I don't know. I don't want to put out the private
Right.
stuff. But yeah, he was awesome. All that stuff was cool. There was cool stuff.
It was cool stuff. Y'all tried to
But it was,
cancel
again,
him.
it was very surreal. Like,
and cool stuff
I'd
happened.
get off I'd be like, holy shit, that's like top 5 for me, favorite comedians of all time. I was just walking around my backyard talking to him. And then I'd come back inside to my shitty apartment with my roommates, with my 35-year-old male roommates. And I sit back down, turn the news on, and it's like, piece of shit, Shane Gillis was fired, bro.
Nothing more humbling than that. Like, to be on the phone with a celebrity and come back in the house and you're like, in a frat house? Nothing more
I
humbling.
sit back down, turn the news on, and it's like, piece of shit, Shane Gillis was fired, bro. What a terrible person he is. And then, I mean, it was just very surreal. So it was kind of like, I didn't even have time to be like sad. It was just very stressful and like kind of funny when I was just with my friends.
Right.
You know? Like, cause
See, this is the best thing about the internet, right? Like, the internet can be a lot of bad things, but in situations like this, like where you maybe can't get production deals, television deals, radio deals, you know, like, you can always start your own thing on the internet and you'll find your people on the internet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel what I'm saying? It's just like, for people who maybe had dealt with being canceled before the internet became this place where you could have your own anything, they really lost everything. But you can absolutely start over on the internet.
they would just keep quoting, and they kept trying to get us in more trouble by finding old quotes.
Oh.
And every once in a while they would miss, and they wouldn't be offensive, and it would just be funny. Mm-hmm. And they would publish them. Like, a lady from the New York Times was
they're
like,
the worst.
He called women who fought in the Civil War secretly flat-chested bitches. And she like tweeted that, and people were like, this is pretty funny stuff. She was like, it's not funny. Yeah, the New York, it made me hate I hate journalists, dude.
Oh, that's
I
the worst.
fucking hate journalists
LA
so
Times
much.
and New York Times, it's the worst.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Knock it off.
Knock it off.
Do you think that you were part of, like, you know, the Asian hate thing started? Do you feel like you had anything
Yeah, that was
to do
pretty
with that?
bad luck.
Did you feel like you started that at all?
No. But I was actually, now that you mention it, yes. I was one of the first.
What?
I was definitely early in the Asian hate community.
Because after that, that's when it kind of took off, I feel like.
That's when, yeah.
But it wasn't, obviously. I mean, that's ridiculous.
No, that's fine. It was kind of, yeah.
Theo always has these like pockets of moments where he just like, you can see his brain just like calculating, trying to figure out, trying to filter through the crap in his mind. I can't. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was media attention about a slur.
Right.
Directed at Asian people. So yes, that definitely, and
Not good.
people are perfectly reasonable
Not
to see a
good.
headline that says this.
I also want to be clear, like in my conversation about cancel culture, I'm talking about it as a whole. I don't know. I just read that one thing that Shane did. I don't know about this other slur he's referring to. I don't know the worst of what he's done, and so I want to be clear. I'm not speaking on that. I'm speaking on the general umbrella of cancelization and what my thoughts are on it. There probably are some times where being canceled is warranted and needed if someone is really spewing hate or they've done something in a hurtful, violating way to other people or a person. Like, I definitely am not saying no one should be canceled, but I just think the overall umbrella of the cancel culture feels way less about eradicating issues and way more about watching someone suffer and getting joy out of it. And that to me is wrong. Just because someone does something wrong doesn't mean they necessarily deserve wrong. I believe that. I do. I believe people are meant to learn lessons and to be maybe even taught lessons by the right people or person. But it is not our job to decide that someone who did something wrong, maybe admitted it, maybe not, then must have something wrong done to them. Like, that is a lot of the problem with the world. If you ask me, that's my personal opinion about the umbrella of this situation, not every specific situation, because somebody might be like, well, what? It's like, I understand there are specifics and there are circumstances and there's there are exceptions to every rule, but that's what I have to say. I think I'm going to stop it here, and this might upset some of you, and that's okay. It's BrittReacts channel, not your channel, because I feel like I've gotten the overwhelming theme here. I get what's going on. I've reacted to some of Shane, and I did think that he was a pretty funny person, but I definitely can see how he pushes the boundaries and can offend people. The slur thing, I'm not even getting into that because that is not nice and it's unacceptable. I don't know, whatever. I also think in this term, like if someone was, let's say I don't like to use the word victim, but the subject of, okay, so the guy that he made the comment about, who then went on Twitter and made a funny tweet in return, like, it didn't bother me, but it probably bothered the other group of people. Like, if they weren't even upset, then why is everybody else upset? It's like, if the person who we're rah-rah-rahing for isn't mad, why are we all mad? If that person could take the joke, why are we all mad? I don't know. Sound off in the comments. But yeah, I just feel like watching 8 more minutes of this is just going to kind of be like a hamster wheel thing. And I think I've talked about it enough, and I love to hear what you guys have to say. So do me a favor, please be kind in these comments, in your life, to other people. Be kind to yourself, because most times that's where it starts. And go and have the day you deserve.